So how do you guys get Tama over?
So he has a travel carrier, like dogs have carriers. He has his own carrier. He probably sleeps the whole way there. Training animals, routines are the way that you can actually accomplish things. Yeah. His routine starts on a Sunday morning at 6 o'clock when we load him up and we get in the car and start driving in that carrier. That's only reason he ever goes into that carrier.
It's for that. So
yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows where he's headed.
Hi, I'm Leslie Lowe. Welcome to Leslie's Lowdown on Life.
We're here today with who I would say arguably is the most important part of the Seahawks game. I want to introduce you to Tama along with dad or trainer Dave Knutson. What I think is so cool, Dave, is that so many people don't realize that you guys live right here in Spokane. You make that trip over the mountains for every home game.
We decided a long time ago that we could do this. We can make that drive. We thought about flying. We're held to everybody else's schedule and not ours anymore.
Yeah.
So, no, it works for us. It's not a bad drive.
It's a nice little road trip right there. So you guys have a big game coming up this weekend. A little playoff game going.
It's not a little one.
Yeah,
it's not a little. This is for all the marbles.
It's kind of a big game.
Yeah,
kind of a big game. You guys are kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And you're gonna make that trip over the mountains again.
Yep.
So how do you guys get Tama over?
So he has a travel carrier, like dogs have carriers. He has his own carrier, and he probably sleeps the whole way there.
Just takes his little nap.
Yeah, he just sleeps. But that's how, in our vehicle.
Little road trip.
Yeah.
Little road trip.
And I believe that because training animals, routines are the way that you can actually accomplish things. Yeah. His routine starts on a Sunday morning at 6 o'clock when we load him up and we get in the car and start driving in that carrier. That's only reason he ever goes into that carrier.
It's for that. So
yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows where he's headed. Tama, you're beautiful. Want a kiss? There we go. Yeah, who's gonna win this weekend? That's right, you guys are. All right, Tama, we're gonna let you go hang out and enjoy your backyard, and we're gonna head inside and talk all things about you and the Seahawks. How cool is this Super Bowl ring from Seahawks, Broncos back in 2013?
That's right.
And I'm wearing it right here.
You better give that back.
Heavy. Oh, I thought you gave it to me for a gift. No? Not so much?
Who knows? Who knows how this is going to go?
Who knows? Okay, we'll see how the interview goes first,
Yeah.
and then we'll go from there. I want you to meet my friend David Knutson. He, along with his wife Robin, have had Tama, the Seahawk, the hawk that you see fly out of the tunnel every single game, home game, for 21
Super
years.
Bowls.
And by the way, Super Bowls for 21 years now.
So I've been working with the Seahawks for 23 years.
Okay.
And Tama is 20 years old, and this was his 21st football season.
So how did this all start? How did you get into this?
I've always been, since I was 12, 13 years old, I was reading about birds of prey. I was just fascinated with them. I didn't know anything about what you could do with them or anything, but I got my first one at 14. With the Seahawks, I had been contracted with the military, AMC military, at different times, 5 or 6 different Air Force bases. And what they wanted me to do was scare all the birds and animals off the runway because, airstrikes cause millions of dollars and lives. So we had done a Discovery Channel deal and National Geographic about what we were doing. And the Seahawks kind of picked up on that. And this was 2002, 2003. It was all Paul Allen's idea. He told his brand new marketing director, his brand new president CEO, Todd Leiweke, that he wanted a live hawk on game day. And go figure it out. Mm-hmm. And so, I ended up there on a weekend, and I had an employee of mine out at McCord Air Force Base, and I brought some of my birds, he brought some of his birds, and we didn't know what they wanted. But for me, I was just interested in seeing the brand new stadium. I don't think there was an NFL game that had been played in there yet. And so, if nothing else, I'll answer their questions and help them lead a way to this, if it was possible. Driving over the hill to get over there, I just kept thinking, this is going to be a dog and pony show. You know, there's going to be a ring of fire. We want your hawk to fly through the fire. And if we can't do it, we'll find somebody else that will. So I get there. We're out there, and we're talking about this and that. And then Todd goes, and in the meantime, my employee was in the locker room doing shots that they were already capitalizing on having birds of prey there. You know, sitting on top of Matt Hasselbeck's helmet and flying out of the locker room, and Sean Alexander's helmet and his locker. So they finally said, okay, let's go into our office. And we go into this office, and there is an old wooden table that's going to fit all of us on it. And he introduces me. He stands up, introduces me, this and that. And I kept thinking about that ring of fire thing. And so Todd goes, the boss, he always referred to Paul Allen as the boss. The boss wants us to have a live bird on game day. And I think, here it's coming right now. And he goes, we don't know what we want. We want you to tell us what you could do consistently on game day with your hawk. But what I want you to do is turn up the bass, and I want to hear a heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. I want everybody to think and know
goosebumps.
that there's a live animal in here. And I want you to zoom in on the hawk's face in the tunnel with the smoke billowing, and maybe we can get it to where there's smoke, and then we focus on his head. And then on cue, we're going to send the hawk from the tunnel out to the 50-yard line with the team running behind it. And I said, I guarantee the next game, when they hear that heartbeat, all your fans are going to stand up. And they're all going to scream and yell and do everything that they do in Seattle. And I remember just going, wow, that's never been done before. And I live 4 hours away, and I'm not moving here. And so Todd goes, okay, he looks around to all his people. He goes, okay, that's what we want.
Wow.
And it was over.
What a gift for them and for you, because you got to do what you wanted, what you saw.
I believe it was June of 2004 or 5, the baby was flown by Delta Airlines to me in a dog carrier, the way we always move birds. Came here and I just started training them. And Robin, my wife, is doing horse stuff and barrel racing and flags and all these events. And I would always go to that with Tama. He didn't have a name yet, but I would bring the hawk so that how do we show him chaos?
I was going to say
drama.
Get him used to.
Yeah, because I'm going to need him to be relaxed. And so that year, I started taking him to the games. I took him to training camp, different events in the summer, and then all of the games. And and every time that he was there, he didn't fly yet. We were flying him through the end zones or across the field, but we weren't doing it on time. And next year was our target. And so he flew out of the tunnel on the last preseason game against the Raiders the following year.
And what year was that?
It would have been 2006.
Okay.
And he flew right on time. They did a big story in the Seattle paper, and that's how we got started. And I get to do this with my wife.
Yeah.
Because somebody, I always tell the people there's like a pitcher and a catcher. Somebody has to have him in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And somebody has to catch him when he flies out.
Yeah.
As we get close, I hand him over to her, and then she walks and goes behind the tunnel, and she waits. And she's an expert at, he's too excited. How do I settle him down? He's flapping, he's doing this, and she's just getting him calm. And she's not letting him see me out there at the 50-yard line. She's gonna come on the outside of the tunnel, and she's gonna slide right in. And if I'm out behind here at the 50-yard line, all the cheerleaders are lined up with their pom-poms, so he's got to do that.
Yeah.
There's going to be smoke billowing inside that tunnel. And on cue, usually I'm thinking with about 20 seconds, she'll go hide inside a piece of the tunnel. And she's blocking him. And he's trying to look around her. Because there's only one thing that's going to happen. In 20 years now.
Yeah.
There's only one thing that's going to happen at that moment. And she's keeping him calm. She's keeping him relaxed. With all this, players are right here breathing fire and ready to go. And they're out of their mind right there. And the flag guys. And so.
That's a lot going on for anybody.
And he's got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And so on cue, Robin will know how excited and he is. And is he going to go early? Is he going to take an extra second?
Yeah.
She will step out right in the middle of the tunnel. Everybody moves up to him, and with her back to me, and she's blocking. And right when she thinks maybe 3, she'll just turn. And he sees me, like he always does. I have a flashing bicycle light that's about 4 inches long, and I'll set it to strobe. It's red. Every time I ever call him, in practice or at the games, he always sees that. And so it's loud. I can't yell at him, I can't whistle. You and I could scream at each other and we're probably not even gonna understand what we're saying. And so I'm standing there, I've got 6 cameras over here, some guy's laying on the ground. I've got my Seahawks camera guy right here. And then there's probably a dozen people surrounding me, and he has to pick me out of all this.
Out of everything.
And my camera guy's right there. So she turns, and I have my light, and I have a little piece of food. And all I can do is like, come on, buddy, let's get, because he doesn't have to do it.
Yeah.
And here he comes, and he starts flying. He flies low, and what I do is, Dave, my camera guy, is right here. And as he comes in, I bring my glove to where it sweeps his head right here. So they get that shot, it's flying right at the camera.
Yeah.
And that's how we start our games.
Which is amazing, and the whole thing gives me goosebumps.
Oh yeah, none of it is lost on me. I mean, it's the best run out in the league.
It's still magical. Have you ever had a moment where he didn't fly out of the tunnel?
There's been some moments. One time, they changed Robin's timing. For example, she'll get a 30 count.
Yeah.
And okay, you got a minute and a half. Okay. And all of a sudden he starts yelling at her and grabs her and says, you got 10 seconds, get out there. And so she runs to get out there and turns, and he's
Little flustered, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she's gotten pulled once. Like, okay, you got to get out of there. There's been a few instances when he, so she turns to fly him to me, and the 2 refs, they walk right in front of him, and he's trying to look around them, and there's a minute, and he flies out, and there's the sky cam that's coming in like this to get the shot. He thinks it's a predator.
Oh.
And so he comes out and he goes that way.
Gets out of the way of the predator.
Yeah. And he's not flying away or anything. But the best one was at the Super Bowl in New Jersey when we've been practicing for 3 days there. And and they want him to fly through cascading fire things. And I said, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So we would do it maybe 10 seconds before what they planned. So Robin's in the tunnel. I'm out at my spot. I've got my NFL Films camera guys all around me. The girls are all lined up. And she's taken all of his gear off except the two straps that are on his leg, and she's holding them. And she's got it clipped with a little French clip. And I'm out of my mind. You know, it's like, how many millions of people are watching this?
Yeah.
And
nerve-wracking.
He jumps like a dog would pull at the leash, that knows the leash is there and still pulls. He jumped, and she went to hold him, and she squeezed the French clip. It opened up.
Released.
And now I see my hawk flying through the end zone at about 50 feet up. And people in the crowd are going crazy because that's their hawk.
Yeah.
They think it's part of this deal. And he flies over and lands on a Marshall stack of speakers. And the craziest thing, and security is out of this world.
Yeah.
There's almost 3 lines of security to stop anybody trying to get out there. I see my wife, Robin, running like this, and she just runs right through everybody. Everybody lets her go.
Yeah.
Over here, they don't know who she is. And she runs over there and just barely just an inch, and she grabs his pulls him down, runs all the way back, and I remember her going, and she gets back in line, and now I can't even see because I'm.
Yes.
And 2 seconds later, she turns, he flies perfectly out, and you hear Steve Rabel go, and Tama has flown. Tama has flown. And right on cue, and I'm thinking, I probably nobody saw that. NFL Films did the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they love telling that story.
It was a great story. It was a great story.
So when you have something like that happen, we want it on the biggest stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that because Seahawks having a great run this year. Possibility of going to another Super Bowl. Fingers.
We don't want to jinx ourselves.
I know. Just
yeah.
Hold the ring. So how do you get Tama used to a different stadium? Because you'll be down there.
We want to try to create as much regular for him.
Okay.
His cheerleaders are right there.
Yeah.
Robin's handling them. She's back over here until it's time to step out. I'm where I always am. The camera guys are all around, and that doesn't bother him. But there's a lot of communication that has to happen.
Yeah.
And and I tell my people with the Seahawks, I said, you got to fight for me, because if NFL Films and NFL is it's their game. It's no longer a Seahawks game or a whoever we would be playing game. NFL owns this game. They get to say what's going to happen. So you guys have to fight for me and tell them this is how we're going to start the game. And he's going to do this and that, and he needs to be there on Thursday and on Friday and Saturday for an hour or two to get him used to the stadium. And we walk around with him. He can always look at everything, and we'll fly him across over here, and we'll fly him across over here, and we'll get over where we know the tunnel's going to be, and we'll fly him a bunch of times, and they'll have a practice with all of the moving parts for the pregame.
Right.
And we'll be a part of that. And so we want to practice as much as possible.
Yeah, I was wondering how many days in advance you get there so that you can do the run-throughs.
So we usually hear late that we're going.
Yeah, probably last minute kind of a thing.
And, we don't live there.
Yes.
And so we've just decided we're going to be flexible about everything. Nobody's going to stop us.
And will you drive? Is that what
We'll
you'll
drive.
do? Drive
to the stadium.
Okay.
There's so much to do at a Super Bowl. There's all these different events, and it starts maybe Wednesday night, Thursday, and you get all of your information, and you get your tags for your bags, and you get your room and hotel, and this is going to be a big hotel, and that they can section off with security. And the other team has the same thing. And it just starts. And we're just constantly playing, okay, this is what we're going to do today. And this is, it could be, okay, Dave, 4:30 tomorrow, we need to meet you. It's going to be the Today Show. And we're going to have 3 cheerleaders, and we're going to have Tame of the Hawk. And you're on at 6. And, I remember all those people, and watching all of that, which is crazy to watch.
Yeah.
And you've met some of those people.
Yeah.
There's that, and then there's another thing, and there's, 9 o'clock tonight, we've got to be somewhere. And then the Playboy Club is having a party, and they want some of our cheerleaders there. And the cheerleaders are, and so.
It's a whole thing. I mean, I think people just...
It's not just a game.
Right. They don't realize that Tama just flies out of the tunnel. You guys have a whole agenda, not just for the regular home games, but Super Bowl.
Everybody wants to see the Hawk.
1,000. Everybody wants to see the Hawk. You guys are so generous, too, with...
Well, we had decided that a long time ago.
Yeah.
We're going to give them whatever they want. I didn't want to have a live mascot that just shows up, flies out, and then has to go away.
Right.
I want everybody that can get close to us to get a picture, to pet them, to see them. That's what I want.
That's what makes it so special, because you guys, you might be out and about before the game starts, but you're also, when the game does start, after Tama's done his fly
We've got a schedule for visiting suites and different seats in the stadium, and it's busy.
It's busy. Yeah, you guys are on the run.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen you in action.
We get our steps. We get our steps.
You do get your more than 10,000 steps in, I'm positive. You've met some cool people throughout the years as well.
And that's fun.
I mean,
we don't, it's just cool meeting interesting people.
Yeah, this is an interesting life that you guys have built. Yeah. And so, who's the coolest person? Could you even narrow it down to one person? Because, I mean, there are so many that you
John Madden.
Okay. How come?
Because he's iconic with football.
Yeah.
And his voice and his game and his, calling games. And he's been around forever. He had been around forever. And I remember Todd Lywicki going, Dave, I want you to meet John. And he walked right over to me. He's like, wow.
Yeah.
But, like a game that we've got coming up here on Sunday, everybody in town comes out.
Yes.
I don't know how they get tickets to be on the sidelines. Actors, basketball players, baseball players, musicians, politicians, they all come out.
Yeah.
They all want to feel it. They want to be a part of it. And I kind of joke around. Rob and I joke around about this. It's like taking a puppy to the park.
Right.
I recognize people, and we're thinking, well, let's go over there. And before we can move towards them, they're moving towards us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What has been the coolest moment for you, if you can pick one cool moment?
It has to be the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
To stand out there with a full crowd, of course. We always have a full crowd. But just to know that there's people all over the world that are going to watch this. And again, he doesn't have to do it. He could not fly. Yeah. He could just fly away, but he does it, and you can tell. I think he loves his job.
Yeah.
And another thing for us is we make people happy. Mm-hmm. They get to meet him, and everybody's blown away that they could touch him, and he's so calm. And we just saw him fly, and So yeah, the crowd really amps up when they put Robin and Tama on the big screen.
They know what's about to happen.
They know what's about to happen, and they want to see. And we hear from fans all the time that are there, and I've got Tama, of course, and they're going, he's our favorite thing about this whole game.
Yeah.
I said, mine too.
You're like, mine too.
Yeah, mine too. But,
It's exciting. It's exciting to see Tama fly in, and I love the camera shot, where you're just kind of catching him right there. So it is. Even just hearing you talk about it, and just over the years, it's a goosebump kind of thing.
It's a pretty good run.
It's pretty good. You've had a pretty good run, my friend.
Yeah.
You really have.
Yeah.
What's next?
Winning the NFC Championship
There
Sunday.
we go.
And then everything changes. And then it's like, okay, the clock starts. Hurry up and get ready.
Yeah.
And just be flexible. Whatever they tell we have to do, we're doing it. And then we're going to go down and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, we are. Who are they going to play? Any
Well, they're not going to play the Rams.
Okay, they're not going to play the Rams.
Because we're going to beat them up on...
Okay, I mean, we've got that. That's going to happen.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that think that we're going to play Boston.
Okay.
Or not the Chiefs, it's the Broncos. I'm not even paying attention to
You're
all
like,
these
all
other
you
teams.
care about is like the Seahawks.
Yeah.
That's
I just
what
know what we're
matters.
going to do.
Yes. Yeah.
But I have no idea. It's probably going to be the Patriots, Boston,
Okay.
It's probably going to be the Patriots. The Broncos lost their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And watch, he'll go out there and play stunning. They're back up, but
See how it goes.
I don't care about any of those people. We're going to win on Sunday, and then we're going to go down to Santa Clara.
Yes.
It's not San Francisco anymore.
Oh, is it Santa Clara?
Well, it's the stadium's in Santa Clara.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
They still call them the San Francisco 49ers,
All right.
but it's their stadium, and it's in Santa Clara.
Let's get ourselves down to Santa Clara.
Yeah.
It's a done deal.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out and talking.
Sure.
But
It's always fun to talk about here.
Well, yeah, this is cool. It's cool that you guys live here. It's amazing what you've done in this 20-year run.
Who wants to live over there? I want to live right here and stay in my own lane.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then just take that beautiful drive over when you need to go there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things too is we have the ability to share our experience. We've shared with you.
Yes, you have.
But so we have our own tickets that we never use because we're on the sidelines or we're working.
Yeah.
And so we can take our friends.
Which is
family.
so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have been so gracious over the years. Again, taking your friends, including them, being a part of the community, being a part of the crowd.
Yeah.
And you really have just made all of this so accessible. And that's why you're so loved.
Well, one more thing.
One more thing. Oh, I thought you just wanted to. Yeah, I thought you wanted to shake hands. Oh, you want this? You want this back? Fine. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes.
Yeah. Go Seahawks.
Go Hawks.